Welcome to Copytraders Club, where you can learn how to make more money copy trading. I'm Gavin McCauley, my name and username on eToro. You can continue the conversation on Discord and Facebook. If you like this podcast and want to see it continue, you can do your part by recommending it to one person or group of people this week. Today is an unusual episode as we chat with someone with a foot in many camps. eToro enthusiast, content creator, copy trader, investor, and maybe one day, PI. Here we go. Episode 39 of Copytraders Club, and this week we talk to Rehana, the woman who started and then ended the YouTube channel eToro Drama. A fellow eToro enthusiast, I see her in the approaching limousine and look forward to a good old girly gossip about all things eToro. Here she comes. Rehana, hello. Welcome to Copytraders Club.
Hi Gavin, pleased to be here.
And we're very pleased to have you, very special guest today. I know you've listened to many episodes, so therefore you know, in order to gain access to the inner sanctum of the Copytraders Clubhouse, you have to answer a series of quickfire questions. Ready for those?
Yep.
Username on eToro.
Rehana TB.
Date you joined eToro.
March 2020.
Year of birth.
1979.
Place of residence.
Derby, England.
Profession.
Well, till last year I would have said chartered accountant, maybe IT consultant, but now I would say home-ed mum and trader.
Briefly state what you aim to achieve on eToro.
Okay, so 3 parts to this. First one, ideally 10-20%, but really just doing the best I can. Second bit, I love the learning aspect of eToro and I want to keep that sort of joy in it. And third, I want to teach my children how to do this.
Name one of your investing heroes.
I think hero is too big a term, so I'm going to say I don't really have one. But I was very, very tempted to say Wolf of Wall Street, but I'm going to say my favourite eToro trader is Jay.
Name one of your favourite investing books.
Okay, I read quite a lot, but I don't really read investing books. So I'm going to go with my favourite source, which would be FelixFallax on YouTube and also this podcast, Copytraders Club.
That completes the formalities. Let's proceed into the VIP section here at the Clubhouse, the splendid Copytraders Lounge. Rehana, aka Rehana TB, are you ready for this magical transition?
I'm ready. I hope they let me in. Thank you.
Okay, Rehana, here we are now in the Copytraders Lounge. How does it feel to finally be here?
Very special. I've been waiting for this day, Gavin.
Well, you've been waiting for a long time since we made contact several months ago, I guess. Tell us how it was we came onto each other's radars.
I think I saw you on the Facebook group, possibly. I definitely saw you on the podcast, and I may have mentioned my YouTube channel at the time, which was eToro Drama. Is that how you remember it? Not sure.
I'm not entirely sure myself.
It's a long time ago.
I saw you mentioning eToro Drama somewhere and then started watching your videos. And I was very excited. I thought it was an interesting angle to come from. The name says a lot, eToro Drama. Tell us what you were planning to feature on that channel.
Okay, so my thought at the time, it's a funny story. My son was really, really into Fortnite, looking for a creator code. And I thought, well, I can make YouTube videos. It can't be that hard. I'm sure I can get loads of subs. So quite sort of cockily sort of went in, started doing it. And I thought, well, I'm really into trading. That's where I'm going to go with it. But it just ended up so much work, Gavin, to be honest. And I got like 3 views or something. I think I've got 18 subs now. So we sort of abandoned it from that angle, went onto Instagram, within 3 days, got 1,000 followers. He got his creator code and sort of went off happily. But I quite like doing the content, so I kept going. But honestly, it's so much work to create the content that it's sort of gone on the back burner now for me.
And what was the nature of the content?
The content was all of the sort of goings on, what the PIs were doing. So, a little look at what Wesley's done this week, what he's posted about, what trades he's been making, a little look at a few of the other main PIs, a few of the lesser known people and non-PIs as well, and just sort of a little track, people watching, if you like, on what they've been doing each week, their trades and their posts and some of their other activities in different places.
Yes, and you describe it as a soap opera.
Yeah, very much so. Definitely the gossip side of it. It was nearly eToro gossip.
Well, I thought it was really fun to hear your views on the whole thing. You're talking about a new video by FelixFallax and so appeared on Copytraders Club, and these are the people posting about this subject this week, and maybe somebody did something else that you found slightly annoying or things like that. I thought it was really fun, and I was looking forward to seeing it develop. So I'm quite sad that it's on ice.
Well, the actual content, I mean, I obviously still follow all of those people and observe them, but the actual production, hats off to people who are YouTube content creators. Hats off to you, Gavin. It's a lot of work to plan out what you're going to say, to do the recording, to do the editing, and then do the graphics. It's probably not really playing to my skill set, if I'm honest. The actual content was really fun to produce, but all of the other stuff was just too time intensive for me.
Yes, I wouldn't fancy making YouTube videos, high production value myself.
Yeah, I mean, Andrew does a great job of it on FelixFallax. There's a lot of, Anastasia does a great job of it, doesn't she, on her YouTube channel.
So you're here because I came across you initially as a content creator. That's now on hold. So you're also a copy trader, reasonable amount of experience, or at least many things to say about copy trading. You're also an eToro enthusiast, clearly. And I understand you might be moving from copy trader into doing your own trades and potentially even become a PI. Now, we can talk about that later, but that's just to set the scene of why I think you're a great guest to have on. Someone slightly different from the usual.
That's spot on, Gavin. That I'm still evolving. I'm sort of finding out where my niche is at the moment. But yeah, that's my long-term plan.
Okay. How did you come across eToro and why did you find it so engaging?
So my husband was already on eToro investing for Bitcoin. I think it was one of the few places he could find a few years ago to invest using that. So that's why I came to eToro, just because it was the platform that he recommended to me. Didn't know anything about copy trading, didn't really see any of their adverts. So it was just the platform that was known to me. And it was March 2020, so there'd been that huge, massive dip in the stock market, which logic sort of said, look, it's going to bounce eventually. This is maybe, a good time to get in. So that's why I initially came to eToro. The reasons I stayed obviously are quite different, but that was the initial plan.
Had you invested anywhere else prior to that?
I'd done one investment, which was in a company called OXP, which was a friend's recommendation, probably a good few years ago now, which, did sort of effectively what GameStop has done and flew high. We didn't get out at the right time and we were sort of the bag holders. And then they delisted. So that really burnt our fingers with that one and didn't touch it again for a long time. So obviously the way I invest now is very different to that. But at the time we didn't know what we were doing. It was recommendation from a friend, which I think a lot of people fall foul to.
So did you come to eToro and initially begin copy trading rather than purchasing for yourself?
Nope, I didn't touch copy trading. I started with just trading the UK 100. I didn't use the virtual account. I didn't see any instructions on what to do, so just sort of learnt by doing, really. Started by opening trades on the FTSE. It defaulted to times 20 leverage. So started by sort of doing that and then learnt the hard way. What are stop losses? How the markets move. Made a lot of money, then lost it all, which I think is the story that a lot of people start with, and then sort of said to myself, look, you're going to have to do this slowly, and sort of it's not gambling. You're going to have to do it like an actual sort of investment. It's your actual money.
Getting rich slowly.
Yeah, exactly. Slow and steady.
There's referencing 2 PIs in quick succession. Okay, let me ask you a question that I ask many of our guests in a way to get to know them better. Can you tell us something you're really bad at?
Okay, I'm quite bad at relaxing. So, for example, for this interview, poor Gavin got sort of my stream of consciousness. This is all about me, 2 A4 pages as sort of my little intro. My prep for this interview was huge. I've been, not sleeping. I'm just quite an intense person. For me, this is quite a big deal. It's something I love. I love eToro. I love talking about it. I was really excited to speak to you, Gavin. And when I'm excited for something, I will prepare. I will over prepare. I will not sleep, which gives me a lot of hours. But I'm just quite an intense person sometimes when I really am into something. So I think that's definitely my biggest flaw.
Well, the Copytraders Clubhouse may be a very lavish place, but it's an informal atmosphere, don't you find?
It definitely is.
In the limousine and reception, everyone's been very courteous and pleasant to you.
Very much so, Gavin.
So is that also how you approach things? Do you immerse yourself completely in it? Is that why you became such an enthusiast on eToro? It sort of becomes like a real obsession.
Yeah, it becomes a vocation, I think. I'm like that with anything. I'm like that with my son and I play Pokemon. We're both like that. We've sort of got that all or nothing personality. We either really go for it 100% or not at all. We're not interested.
Okay, let's have a question from the art of people. Can you give me a number between 1 and 10?
Pick me a random one, Gavin.
How would your favorite teacher describe you?
Probably feeds into my last answer, to be honest. My English teacher told my mum I better be careful that I don't burn out, because I'm that person. She was like, look, stop her from working, because she will just keep going and going and going, and she needs to rest. So she told my mum, be careful she doesn't burn out. So the most hard-working person, an all-rounder. I get there in the end and achieve my goals.
Okay, I've divided this section of the conversation into the past, the present, and the future. Let's talk about when you first signed up for eToro. You were doing some of your own trades, and then you shifted into copy trading. What attracted you to copy trading?
Well, I did some copy trading. I've always kept doing my own trades because I quite like that control. So what attracted me to copy trading, the idea of, having an expert who knows exactly what they're doing, who knows when to go in, when to go out, who has researched these companies and has sort of a full ready-made portfolio, really. So I didn't have to do the work. That's sort of my understanding of what copy trading was at the time. Obviously, not quite always the case. Sometimes the case.
And who did you begin copying?
I'm not sure, to be honest. I don't think I can remember that far back. I used to find people off the news feed and sort of, when they spoke about something, look them up, look at the stats, look at the portfolio, and sort of copy randoms, to be fair. At the start, I didn't really know what I was doing. I didn't know how to pick. A green portfolio looked pretty attractive at the start, looking at stats, and I didn't really know how to understand and interpret what I was seeing at the start.
Well, I think that's true of everyone. It takes a while to work out what's going on.
Yep, FelixFallax has helped me interpret those stats and portfolios and find little bits of information on that.
Did you watch Social Trading Vlog at the start as well?
No, I've never really watched it, to be honest. It looked to me like sort of a dummy's guide, which is sort of, I'm more of a practical learner. I'd rather learn by doing it myself.
Okay. Yeah, I started watching his videos just so I could learn the basics because, everyone is a dummy when they sign up to a new platform. So you need a simple step-by-step. This button does this button does that.
I think by the time I'd learnt that there were YouTube tutorials, I'd already learnt the basics. So I'm not saying that I wasn't a dummy at the start. I most certainly was. But by the time I'd come across videos, I'd sort of learnt that bit already for myself.
And then tell us about your reaction to finding FelixFallax YouTube channel.
It was really interesting, actually, because that was a lot of my education. He was posting on the Facebook group, so I could see he was really knowledgeable. But the actual breakdown of portfolios and looking at stats and looking for little intricacies, looking at how the bio didn't necessarily stack up with the portfolio, that was really interesting. Yeah, big part of my education right there.
Yes, me too. I can't believe he doesn't have 100,000 subscribers.
I know, right? I think that a lot of people just seem to go for the face on the YouTube video, don't they?
I think that's part of it. The other part is a lot of copy traders are they're not adopting a sophisticated approach. If you want to adopt a sophisticated approach, you need to understand all the information that is imparted on the FelixFallax channel. But if you're just a go-to-copy people, go to editor's choice, click a profile, click copy, without any greater thought, there's no need for channels that educate you.
No, that's true. I've never really looked at editor's choice personally because I sort of don't like to be influenced in that way. So I try and find actual people that I like and people that I feel like I have confidence in now.
Can we talk about some of the people featured in your videos?
Yeah.
And by the way, of course, I will leave a link to your YouTube channel in the show notes if people want to go and check them out.
You can do it. I'm not fast.
The videos are not still being made, so I guess they're going to become dated in time.
Yeah, true.
They're a fun little window, and the beauty of a YouTube channel is you can just leave it there. It doesn't cost you anything.
Yeah, that's true. There's no harm in it being there.
Unlike a podcast that you have to pay to keep it up.
Oh, do you? I didn't know that.
Well, not on YouTube, but on, the podcast platforms.
Yeah.
So this is a bit of a fun bit where we just have a little goss about some of the characters that you've featured. I don't think you've prepared any of this.
No, I haven't.
Just a couple of people having a cup of coffee, chatting about eToro. Would you like a cup of coffee?
Yes, please.
Excuse me, Yasmin. Can we have 2 coffees? Black?
Yes.
Sugar?
Yeah. 2.
Just with sugar, thanks. And some of those little almond biscotti. Thank you. Right. So I'm just going to throw some names at you and let's see what we can talk about. Gautam.
Oh.
You describe him as one of your favorite YOLO traders. Where is Gautam?
I haven't looked at him for a while, to be honest. I look at him for entertainment.
Have a look now. See if you can find him.
Shall I?
I think he's disappeared.
Has he disappeared? Like Yen Dizzy? Yeah, he's gone, hasn't he?
But he was undertaking some seriously risky behaviour.
Yeah, he had he had a big fan base, didn't he?
And what kind of YOLO trading was he doing?
He seemed to have a lot of pharmaceuticals at the time when I was looking at him, I think. I think he was in, things like Bio-Nano and Adamas, wasn't he?
And he was a fan of leverage.
Oh, very much so. I think, a lot of the YOLOs are, aren't they?
And was he like a PI?
No, I don't think he ever made PI.
Did you ever invest in Gautam?
Oh, no, I didn't.
You just enjoyed watching his antics?
Yeah, he was one of my entertainment watches.
Now, there's a Copytraders Club alumnus that you're not a big fan of? Who would that be?
MJ Lux.
Yes. Why aren't you a fan of him?
Well, nothing against him personally, I suppose, but he sort of represents everything old school money. Do you know, like the old boys club? It was in accountancy quite a lot when I was in there. It's been in a lot of companies that I've worked in and audited. It's that, money goes to money, silver spoon. I live in Monaco on my yacht and I golf.
Well, that's interesting you should say that.
You live in Monaco on your yacht and you golf.
Yeah, not yet. Marcin wasn't born with a silver spoon, from
Was he not?
what I understand. No, I think he comes from quite humble origins in Poland. Now he lives in Luxembourg. But I know what you mean. He's got the look and feel of the old boy network.
Yeah, a lot of his posts on eToro are talking about, being on the golf course, not having time to do X, Y, and Z, jetting off here and there. I don't know. It wasn't humble. I like humility.
Yes, I wasn't sure what I would make of him prior to chatting to him. I did think we might not get on terribly well, but I found him to be very pleasant, and he can laugh at himself, and he and his copiers sometimes they joke about his clothes and his bow ties and his kerchief in the pocket. That sort of his sense of style. And yes, he's got a very different approach to trying to build his AUM rather than seek large numbers of copiers within the eToro ecosystem. He's looking to bring in higher net worth individuals.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good strategy, isn't it?
Yes, and I know what you're saying, that eToro is opening the door to normal folk to get involved. But really, I suppose what they're doing is they're making it for everyone, and everyone includes the high rollers as well as people who are scrimping together a couple of $100.
Yeah, true. I mean, it's a good way to hit the high copier levels, isn't it? If you have a few net worth individuals, that's going to bump it right up.
And as a disruptor in the space, if eToro is the antidote to all the nonsense that went before with money managers on high fees and all of that kind of stuff, it's quite important that they do attract some of those and draw them over into eToro and away from the old school way of doing things.
Yeah, that's a good way of looking at it.
So you're going to be copying MJ Lux next week?
No, not for me. A bit too salesy.
Okay, let's turn to somebody you do like, obliquely referenced earlier, insofar as his YouTube channel is called Getting Rich Slowly.
Oh, Wesley. Yes, I quite like Wesley. I think he's a decent guy. He's having a bit of a hard time of it at the moment, isn't he, with his Chinese stocks? But I think he's well placed. He puts a lot of research in. Someone that I trust, I think, in the long term.
And why do you like his channel name?
Yeah, completely agree. I think that's the only way to do it, to be honest, sustainably. I think anyone can take a gamble and make a lot of money, but to do it and for it to last and to keep doing it over the long term, that's the only way.
You also like Gasper Soapy?
Yep, he's a decent guy. I like him.
What do you like about him?
Well, he posts on Jay's Discord quite a lot, so you see the man, he's quite sensitive to his copiers. Yeah, I like his morals. He seemed quite ethical. Quite like the way... I like Eduardo. Can't really say his surname. But Eduardo, the green investor.
Edu Vencesla.
Yeah, quite like him. Like the way he gives his PI check to charity each month. Not really that motivated by money. I like the way he's so ethical about his investing. Same with Jay. I really like the ethical side of their investing. The conscience of it, not just going for, just money.
Yeah, so it sounds to me like you're very influenced by the individuals and who they are and what motivates them, what makes them tick, what kind of people they are.
Yeah, there's a lot of people doing very well, but for me as a person, the people I want to copy are sort of people that I approve of, that are humble, that are sort of have good ethics, good morals. That's quite important to me.
Let's talk about a couple of people who aren't doing so well at the moment. And I think you're in a Facebook group that is run by one of them.
Wayne.
Which Wayne?
Mr. Gummer.
Wayne Gummer, yes.
Yeah, I think he's having a hard time of it at the moment, isn't he? He did quite well with the growth stocks, but at the moment, yeah, he's having a difficult year, I think it's fair to say.
Things changed quite suddenly for his fortunes, didn't they?
Yeah. I mean, he was quite heavily into sort of Fiverr, Ocado, Games Workshop. When it was a growth period, he was doing really well. Obviously, now his strategy is it's not really a growth market. Those growth stocks are not doing very well. Things like Peloton, not at their all-time highs, quite far from it. So
yeah, he seemed to be going very much in the right direction until 2021 came along.
Yeah, I think he'll pull it back. I think, he's maybe having a bad phase. I think fundamentally he did quite a lot of deep research into what he was doing. But yeah, I think he's lost his footing a little bit.
Speaking of people who've lost their footing, and speaking of Facebook, I saw a post on the eToro investors community page. Are you a member of that?
There's a long story on that one. No, I got kicked from that group. I can't tell you why, because I don't know. But yeah, I think someone there didn't really like the look of me, or didn't like what it was saying. So
yeah, they do have a sort of very iron grip on their community.
Yeah, I mean, I do see what's on that page, and it's very pro crypto, almost selling it. But for me, I don't really get much from it anymore.
Well, I think when you control it with such an iron grip, it's going to choke the creativity out of the page, if you ask me. But anyway.
It's a shame. It was a fantastic group. There's a lot of pros to it.
Well, I saw one post on it which I found interesting. It was showcasing the decline of a certain PI, and the stats were from 11,500 plus copiers with over 5 million in assets in March 2018 to 482 copiers and an unknown amount of AUM between 300k and 1 million. So from 11,500 copiers to just a few hundred in the course of 3 years, 3.5 years. Do you know what PI that's referring to?
Is it good going?
It is good going. The final line of the post was, "Now that's not very good going, is it?"
Oh, but then, the main person on that group hates good going, doesn't he? So it's maybe not completely impartial there.
Well, I guess the stats don't lie.
No, I mean, it looks like he's turned over 6% this year. He's up 9% in October, isn't he?
And what's good going's name? He's another Wayne.
He's Wayne Ryan, just looking, but he's not somebody that I follow, to be honest. He did a lot of currency trading, didn't he? But seems to have completely changed his strategy and diversified a lot there, with sort of 40 different items in his portfolio now.
You say you don't look at Editor's Choice much, but can we talk about a couple of things on Editor's Choice just by way of idle gossip?
Yeah, you can do. Yeah, of course.
Have you seen how much eToro are pumping the recently anointed PI Trades with James?
I haven't, to be honest. I've only heard his name because Jay Nemesis did an interview with him, didn't he? So it's not a channel I've come across. And I know he's just come on to, I think has he come on to your Discord or to Jay's? So I've seen his name recently, but I don't know anything about him.
Well, they've had him on Editor's Choice for a good long stretch. Quite a new arrival on eToro. And I see no sooner has he come off Editor's Choice that there's a notification that he's doing a webinar on eToro soon. So he better be good to live up to this level of preferential treatment.
Maybe commission.
Honestly, if he doesn't make it to Black Star, then it's not through lack of assistance.
Oh, I can't see him on there now, looking.
He's not on Editor's Choice anymore.
No. What were his stats like? What was his
I
profit?
mean, okay.
Oh, right. He's quite new to eToro, isn't he? He's not even been a year.
But he's been given quite a leg up in that year.
Yeah, I mean, it's good if you can get it, isn't it?
Well, let's talk about somebody else who's getting it. Nezatron.
Oh, is that one of the girls?
Yes, Neza Mulk. She's gone from obscurity to how many copiers now?
Oh, let's have a look. She's very pretty. So, 3056.
She's already over 3,000 copiers. That's a lot.
Yeah, she's up 60%.
But if you look at her graph, they've all come in the last few weeks.
Yeah. Again, she's still fairly new. She started, March 20.
And doesn't seem to be doing the same in 2021 as she was in 2020.
No, her stats are quite different, aren't they, this year?
Markedly different. So she's got over 3,000. She's already among the most copied PIs in eToro, just as a result of being on Editor's Choice for a couple of weeks. What do you make of that?
There's a new incentive, isn't there, for female PIs? Trades with her, was it?
Yeah. Obviously, eToro are keen to promote female PIs. That's fine. But it just shows you how the power of Editor's Choice is incredible.
Yeah, I suppose if you don't do your own research and you sort of blindly copy, then that's where you go, isn't it?
So what does that say about how far copytraders have to go to become educated actors?
Well, sales is a lot of it, isn't it? That's sort of one of the problems I had with MJ Lux. It's that sales pitch. If you don't look past that sales pitch and analyze for yourself, then you can quite easily be taken in, which seems to be the case for a lot of copyers who get burnt by that sales pitch, by that bio that can mislead them, by, a lot of green in a portfolio, which isn't necessarily, a sign that there's going to be green for you if you copy at this point. They may have done well, buying Bitcoin 4 years ago up to now, but that doesn't mean they're good at trading from this point on, does it? It's not a guarantee of future success.
Yeah, I mean, no hate to any of these guys. I mean, Trades with James and Neza Mulk might do perfectly well. They might be very good. I'm just pointing out that the difference in the level of assistance that some people get from this leg up.
What qualities do you have to make the editor's choice? Does anyone know? Does everyone eventually make it? How do they pick?
As a fan of the show, you would have heard that discussed on one of the roundtable episodes.
Oh, right. I haven't heard that one.
There are various filters that they apply.
I know if you make over 100%, you can't make it, can you?
Yes, so there are various filters, but ultimately it's people saying, who do we want to promote?
Right.
Far be it for me to suggest that there's any tokenism going on in terms of anything, I suppose, gender, race, geographic location, things like that. But, if I was eToro, I would want to promote females. I'd want to promote people of color. I'd want to promote people throughout the world in various different places and not have it too, Eurocentric. So it's their choice. That's the point.
Yeah, it makes sense to balance it out. But, first and foremost, it's got to be on performance and risk management, hasn't it? Above all else.
Well, if it was your business.
Yeah.
But you have to feel for the PIs that have no hope of ever getting on to Editor's Choice.
Yeah, you're missing a lot.
And are working really hard on eToro, like Bees84. He's working so hard to communicate with his copiers, to build up his AUM. He's making videos. He's getting PIs together to have these conferences. He's working really, really hard, and he's 1,000 and something. He's under 2,000.
Has he never been on Editor's Choice?
No, he's never been on Editor's Choice. His returns are too high.
Oh, right.
So to see somebody else suddenly come from nowhere and just rocket past him, despite his long track record and the amount of work he puts in. I'm not saying him specifically, but it applies to many, many PIs.
No, but it's not necessarily fair, is it? No, there needs to be a bit more balance.
Yeah, it must be frustrating. But anyway, good luck to everyone.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know why that rule is there if you make over 100% that you're not included, because surely, logic says if you make 101%, surely, where I know you have to have a cut-off at some point, but
it's because eToro want to be seen as a sensible, non-gambling investment platform, not just a place for YOLO moon shooting.
Well, is that what they are?
Well, they want to be seen as that.
Well,
So they promote safer people.
Yeah, I see that. But I wouldn't call someone like Bees84 unsafe.
No, nor would I.
Because of his returns. His risk score is low enough. I think it's like 4 or 5, isn't it, his risk score?
Yeah, the unusual thing is that eToro makes such a big deal of crypto on their platform. Like, wow, we've got these new crypto assets. And, oh, come to us and buy crypto. And, oh, here's a notification about some crypto that's gone up 20%. And yet they treat PIs on the platform that have a decent proportion of crypto as some sort of dirty little secret.
But they do promote the crypto portfolio, don't they? Their own copy portfolio.
Yeah, they do. But, good luck to everyone. You've got to take advantage of these things when they come your way. So,
yeah. What is it you said? You said it to FelixFallax, didn't you? There's many ways to skin an orange. No, to eat an orange. And I suppose these people are all just taking different routes to get there.
dear listener, just a little pause here to say a few things directly to you. The calendar is full until the end of the year. That will mean 52 episodes, which seems like a good time to pause and call it Season 1 and take stock. It's been a lot of fun and a lot of time and effort, but I'm pleased to be creating something of value for eToro users, particularly Copytraders. Whether there will be a Season 2 depends on a number of factors. I say it elsewhere, but I want to repeat it again here to really encourage a little action from you. If you want to see the podcast continue, you can help by bringing more listeners in. A lot of people still don't know about Copytraders Club, so post about it on your PI's feed in eToro. Mention it on a Facebook group or in whatever Discord groups you're in. That's not too much of an ask, is it? On the podcast apps, there's always a share function that includes copy link. Use that. Or copy the YouTube channel link and share that. Or share a link to your favourite episode. There are many ways to eat an orange. I also have one of those affiliate links for new eToro signups in every episode's show notes. So, if you know someone interested in signing up, please copy and send them that link and help support the show that way. Now, I know these calls to action that you hear on podcasts can easily be ignored, and I always ignore them myself, let's be honest. But this time, I am asking you, as someone who listens to and enjoys this one-person independent podcast, to make a little effort to help it along. You can even press pause and take 2 minutes to do it right now. If you do, know that I am grateful. If you don't, every time you hear this bit, you will be overcome with a crippling sense of guilt and unworthiness. Until you do. Back to the show. Let's move on to the present. Rehana, who do you copy currently?
So I've got Jay, Wesley and Yeppy at the moment.
And I saw you saying in your notes, in fact, in preparation for this, you mentioned that you stopped copying FelixFallax and you regret that.
Yeah, that's probably the only one that I regret. So he was up 16%, but I just felt he was too aligned with the NASDAQ at the time, and I already had a lot in the NASDAQ. So he had all of those individual companies. He wasn't leveraging or anything. And also he was copy blocked, and I wanted all my PIs to be equal value. So I couldn't top up or anything.
He was copy blocked because he's not a PI.
Yep. So I couldn't add to that copy. So when his copy block gets lifted, if he becomes a PI or something, I'm going to start copying with my second account. But I think my plan at the moment is to close these copies and sort of do my own thing on this main account. The only problem is Jay.
Well, we'll come to that later, but let's talk about what is the limit on non-PIs being copied?
I'm not sure. I think it's maybe 20,000, maybe 10. I'm not sure. I have no idea, to be honest.
You have a copier?
I have one copier. It's my husband.
I wondered.
He's up 30% though.
Is he?
Yeah, on me. So he always says, like, you're doing okay compared to whoever else he copies.
Very good. I have 4 copiers.
Do you really?
Even though my profile says, don't copy me, I'm not interested, leave me alone.
Oh, I think the only way to really stop being copied is to go private, isn't it? But I'm surprised people do it. Maybe just because you're famous.
Famous.
Yeah, I know, that's it.
Famous with an incredibly small F.
An F is an F.
So you're copying 3 people. You've got 65 stocks.
Yep.
You've got 9 ETFs.
Yep. I've got no commodities. I don't do copy portfolios. I don't do currencies, but I do indices. So I do the NASDAQ, I do the FTSE, and I do the German indices as well. Although I'm not holding any FTSE at the moment because it's quite high.
And do you think you're going to continue these copies for long?
I think what I'm going to do is close the copies soon. I've opened Yeppy on my second account and Wesley. The only person I can't open is Jay. So my intention for this account is for it to be just my own trades.
But you're finding it difficult to let go of Jay?
Yeah, I'm finding it difficult to close that copy.
So when are you going to do that?
I'm just going to wait and see. I think there's no rush. At the moment, I'm happy with things as they are. I think I'm not quite at the stage to go for the PI program. I think I need to do more work, more research, I think a little bit more time in my own life. So at the moment, I'm happy where I am.
But ultimately, your plan is then to copy from one account, trade on your own from another. And if you grow in confidence to the point where you think you could be a PI, or you're asked to by eToro, then you'll stop copying and go for it?
Yep, that's my plan. At the moment, my portfolio is not really set up to be copied. A lot of my positions are quite small. I do what I want to when I want to. I don't think of position size. My risk score is under control. I've got no issues there. But I dollar cost average into a lot of trades, which means that I've got lots and lots of little trades, which is not going to be conducive to copiers. I'll need to rebalance everything. There's no point at the moment. I also quite like to hold cash, so I hold about 30% cash, which I know some people say cash is trash, but I quite like it. It means that if the stocks I like go down, I can dollar cost average in. Leverage is not a problem. I do some indices trading, but I only ever use ×5 leverage now, so and only a small percentage of my portfolio. So it's just I don't really have the time to reply to copiers. I don't have the time to do it properly. Like I said, I'm one of those people who wants to, do it right, do it properly, and I'm not ready for that yet.
Do you think you're a good copy trader?
As somebody who is copying people, probably not, because I'm quite impatient. I don't mind people going, I understand that portfolios go red, but I don't like it when I don't understand. I think I like control. So if there's, for example, something like Corsair, if somebody sold, down at 24, then rebought at 36, I'd have a problem with that because to me, that's the wrong way round. down at 24, I'd see it as a value stock. It's, that's when I'm buying. Up at 36, 39, that's when I'm selling. So if they're doing the opposite to me, I've got a problem with that. That's sort of not how I would trade. So I think I have an expectation of how I think things are going to be done. And when they're not quite like that, I have a problem with that.
Yeah, so you leave copies when you see PI behavior that you disagree with, from a tactical point of view, even.
Yeah, I mean, I found it. Wayne, somebody you mentioned earlier, I was copying him, and he sold everything quite low, right at the bottom, and I found that really heartbreaking, disappointing. I found that really hard to deal with because I wouldn't have done that. That's the time I top up. That sort of is the opposite of what I would do. So for me, that's a deal breaker.
Yeah, so you're an informed copy trader.
I like to think so.
Which means you're not just going to leave it in the hands of those who know best. You're quite alert to perhaps they don't know best.
The way I see copy trading now, I see it. Do you remember MTV Cribs where you could look around someone's house? Or, Selling Sunset where you see their beautiful mansions and then you think, oh, I like that. I like that. That's sort of the way I see copy trading. I get to see their portfolios. I get to see where their biggest convictions are. I get to see where they bought it. I can do that at a discount for myself. I can see their articles about different companies. That gives me a heads up as to, Rehana, maybe go and research that. Maybe that's something you're going to be interested in. It's almost like it's sort of opening up a balance sheet for you, isn't it? It's like when I used to audit companies, you can see inside that company. That's what eToro gives me. I see inside, their portfolios, and that gives me a heads up as to what I should be looking at. And that's really what I use it for now.
So you're moving away from automatically copying and using it more as a research tool?
Yeah, very much so.
I wonder how many PIs do the same.
I think there's a lot of correlation between some portfolios, maybe.
Pray tell.
Well, Jay said something not long ago, which was like he'd seen people who, when he'd come up with a position, then he sees it mimicked in other portfolios. I don't want to name drop, but he's definitely seen it.
I'm sure there are loads of people drawing a salary from eToro who are simply, phoning it in insofar as they're just cherry picking ideas from other PIs.
Yeah, I mean, there's knowledge sharing to a certain extent that you can do as a collective on something like eToro. There's, a heads up, Wesley posted the other day about ASOS. He posted about Deliveroo. I already hold Deliveroo, but actually it's quite interesting to see his take on it. He posts about UK stocks quite a lot as well. I find him quite interesting.
I'm thinking more of the talentless, ill-informed charlatan who's simply cherry picking ideas from maybe one or more PIs, creating a portfolio. It does well because other people have done the work. And because they haven't exited those positions, they look like they know what they're doing, and they're maybe drawing a salary and attracting copiers.
Yeah, you could do it and market yourself well. Whether you could do it sustainably, I don't know.
Well, I guess we have to see when the tide goes out. We'll see who's swimming naked.
Yeah, exactly. Love that. Love that phrase.
So what sort of PI do you think you would be?
Well, I've got my own money in the game. So we have an offset mortgage. So the way we've done it is we've taken some of that money out of our mortgage to trade with as our capital. John's done it and I've done it. So it's not money I'm willing to lose, to be honest. So I'm quite careful with it. I'd like some value stocks, some growth stocks. I'm really quite bullish on solar. I like to invest ethically when I can. I will dollar cost average in. I will do some indices trading. I don't know who I'd model myself on. Obviously, I'd try and be as much J Nemesis as I can, but whether I'll get there, we'll see.
I wouldn't try and mimic the hairstyle.
Have you tried it?
Well, you can see me, so. Oh, the coffee's just arrived. That took a long time. Yasmin. Just me.
Service is not what I expected.
Here we go. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Brilliant, Gav.
Well, you could be a shoe-in for Editor's Choice if you do become a PI.
Yeah, well, I used to do IT consultancy, and I remember it was lots of older, Caucasian males, and the partner I used to work for used to say, "Look, we'll bring you into the room. You're our secret weapon. You tick a lot of boxes, but it's all about stats, isn't it?"
Absolutely. I mean, performance is key. But I think as long as you're doing okay, if you're the right profile, I don't mean you specifically, but if one is the right profile for eToro to want to boost, if you look like a real safe pair of hands, or you have various other boxes ticked, you don't have to be doing amazingly well to get the leg up. You just have to be doing okay. And you only seem to have to be doing okay to get copiers as well.
I don't know. It seems so hit and miss with copiers. Some people who I think look up and I think they must have loads of copiers, and then they don't. And then some people who I'm like, oh, questionable, and then they are really popular. I can't. It's not an exact science, definitely. I can't really fathom that one.
If you were to become a PI, you say you might model your investing behavior on someone like Jay. Upon whom would you model your communications?
I like Gaspasopi. I think I've probably pronounced it wrong, but he has a good balance. He doesn't overwhelm you with posts every single day, but you know that he's working away in the background. You know, when he makes a decision, he lets you know. I like his level of communication. He's not just posting to the feed for the sake of it for more copiers and to get exposure. He's posting for a reason.
Would you have to get over your issues with YouTube and communicate via videos?
I hope not. I hope I don't have to.
I can see your face in a little hexagon at the bottom corner of the screen.
I don't know. I don't like it, to be honest. I'm quite happy in the background.
If I ever became a PI, I think that would be an absolute must-have.
What, a YouTube channel?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I wouldn't particularly want to do it myself, but I think I would have to keep the copiers up to date, to show them the whites of my eyes.
I think it takes a very strong skill set and a lot of confidence that I don't think I have. But I think you can be a good trader without that, to be honest.
Well, of course you can, but the difference with eToro is, it's social trading, and I don't think anyone's a total natural. You have to be a disaster before you can be a master. But I think people grow into the role, and I think copiers appreciate it. I could be wrong. It's just my opinion.
Yeah, watch this space. I don't think I have a YouTube future personally, but we'll see.
Now, Rehana, as an eToro enthusiast, I know you have a number of frustrations with the platform, not just in terms of usability, but also in terms of their approach to marketing and PR. Tell us some of that.
Okay, so when I came onto it, I thought it would be a very sociable experience. My biggest problem with eToro would probably be the newsfeed. What I expected from it was, a lot of friends that I would, learn to get to know, have sort of well-informed posts to read each day. But really what I've found is that I've had, random people just tagging me in things. I'm not able to block them. I found it very, very aggressive, the newsfeed, and ill-informed, really. So now it's something that I avoid. I have a little look at what PIs are posting. But that social side of it, I've not really managed to find. Oh, but like I said, I'm on Discord, so there's a little bit of the social side there, but it's not really what I hope. And it's certainly not something that you can filter out. So you can't filter out certain people. So I find that quite hard to use on a daily basis, the newsfeed.
Somebody suggested on one of the episodes that it should be more like the Facebook feed. You know, you literally follow people.
Yeah.
That's what populates your newsfeed. And maybe there's a little bit of, if you like that, then you'll like this.
Yeah.
But it would keep the riffraff away.
Well, I think it seems very unprofessional to me. Obviously, I have trained in a professional background. The way people treat each other and talk to each other, obviously, it's an online environment, so I have to expect an element of that. But it also is a finance community. It's not the way people talk to each other can be really disrespectful, and it's not. I don't feel confident enough these days to comment, because I know people are going to come down at me, be quite aggressive at me personally, and it's not really something I want to expose myself to.
Okay.
The other things I would change, I mean, I think I heard your stat for Anastasia with the interview that you did with her. And you mentioned the number of females. Now, looking at my own posts, obviously, Heloise is amazing, very informed, really well-educated, academic, poster girl for eToro. Wonderful woman being represented there right at the top. But when you said, I think you said there were like 20% female representation on eToro, it was something like that. But looking at my own posts, I don't post very often. I think my second most recent post was sort of 8 months ago. And looking at that, I had 8 likes on it, and 5 of them were from female accounts, but not proper accounts like, that you see on Instagram, those accounts where it's sort of a female account that's designed to lure other people in. So I think those stats are maybe questionable.
Yeah, I don't remember quoting that stat. I've no idea how many female users there are. Maybe Anastasia said it.
I read an article as well recently which was talking about female investors being on the up, but it's certainly not something that I've seen. And I don't think eToro is geared really towards, and certainly the adverts that I've seen don't seem to promote the work-life balance that eToro provides someone like me. They seem to, talk about Steve in his pants copying an oil investor, and Alec Baldwin coming in, which doesn't really appeal to me.
Steve in his pants doesn't appeal to you?
No, it's not someone I'm not sitting there in my pants like Steve, to be fair. But, the advertising, I think, they're missing a huge market. Somebody like me, and if I look at all of my friends, we're all mums, we're all in our 30s and 40s. We're looking for, a work-life balance, and eToro gives me that. But actually, I don't think they're capitalizing on it. eToro, the market's open at 2:30 for me, which means that I can home educate my son all day. And then at 2:30, we go off and do our own thing. The market's open and I sit and trade. I can, prepare dinner and listen to a podcast. I can sit and do something with my other son and research Tesla, the earnings call last night. I can listen to that while I'm doing something with James. It just fits into life so easily. And I don't think eToro capitalizes on that at all, to be honest. I've found that a lot of my friends are into things that I'm not into. They're into Strictly or something like that. So I've tried to guide them and offer them, tell them about trading, tell them about eToro, but actually they find it they look at the interface. It seems quite simple to us because we use it every day. But actually, when you see everything flashing and you see the watch list, it's quite full on. And when you talk about using your own money, that's quite a big step for somebody to make. I think you need some sort of training when you first start the app. What was your experience, Gavin, when you first started? Did you just go straight in? Did you watch the videos? How did you start?
Well, that was entirely my reaction. Was I need to know how to use this platform, and I didn't have a clue. I went to Social Trading Vlog, and he took me by the hand and showed me the basics. I definitely felt like I wasn't going to get any help on eToro from eToro. which is why I bang on about this welcome series of videos.
Oh, absolutely. See, I've designed software in my previous life and as an IT consultant, and with John, more recently we've done software. And when you think about how much effort you put into those tutorials to making sure that your customer base understands how to use it from the very beginning, from the minute they click a button, there's none of that with eToro. You're literally straight in. You're defaulting to 20 times leverage without really any defenses to protect you. I know the virtual account is there, but I don't think many people use it. And it's supposed to be quite buggy, isn't it?
Yeah, we're sort of talking about two issues here. One issue is how the marketing and the PR is directed at a section of society and is maybe missing out on the rest. And then the second is what it's like when you sign up for eToro.
And you want to keep them separate.
Well, what you explained about the way you use eToro, that even sounds like an advert. I can see an advert.
Yeah, I can see an advert in Bake Off. Advertise it during Bake Off. Have your mum sort of multitasking. Copy trading is perfect. I've got lots of friends who are not very technical. My best friend is in Ireland. She works for a charity full time. She's really busy. I've told her all about eToro. I think one of my videos is, how to teach Jane how to do it. It's just, she's not financially minded, so it's just too much for her. Copy trading would be absolutely perfect for her. She could just literally hit copy, trust those PIs to diversify, to get everything done. But to get her to that stage, it means, opening an account, her risking her money, her not really understanding who to copy, her having to analyze, the difference between a PI who can sell himself very well or herself and but not really be a safe pair of hands, her having to sort of understand what her attitude to risk is, how much risk she wants to take, whether she just wants to put it away, come back in 10 years and just have a pot there, or whether she wants, higher returns or something in between. I think to me, it seems so easy and like it would be such a good solution for so many of my friends, but actually there's quite a lot of barriers to enter.
That's why a series of videos where each video addresses those barriers, in a very gentle introductory way, I think would work wonders.
I think it's a no-brainer for eToro, to be honest. I'm surprised they've got to this stage without that gap being filled, really.
So much of their effort seemed to be about getting people to turn up at the shop doors, but then once people go through the doors, they're left to their own devices.
Yeah, I mean, even just looking at Facebook, the number of posts that I see where someone new has put a trade on and they're saying, look, I've bought this stock is going up, why am I negative? And they've actually pressed sell instead of pressing buy, and they don't realize that's like, step one, but they've never been taught. So how can you know? And the eToro buttons at the top, the buy and the sell, can be a bit confusing. It's not quite as simple as, you just do this. I think it's something that should be made clear to people.
So you have an idea that goes way beyond the introductory videos when you sign up.
Yeah. Effectively a training app. So I know the virtual mode on eToro is there, but people are overwhelmed when they see it quite often. Whereas I think it would be quite easy for eToro to have a training app where you're not using actual money. You can just learn the basics, but a separate app so that people are not depositing anything, so they can effectively be walked through one type of stock and learn sort of on the job. I home educate one of my sons. I want to teach him how to trade. I think this tool could teach people, people like, some of my non-financial friends. It could teach them how to copy trade, how to actually trade for themselves. It would just be a walkthrough. It would do what eToro does, but a very slow, handheld process to get there.
And one that's completely separate from the platform, so there isn't that sense of urgency, there isn't flashing lights.
They wouldn't have the same access to the news feed, which could point you in the wrong direction, which could say Tesla's a buy now at 900. Someone quite new could get quite influenced by that. They wouldn't then be exposed to all of that. They wouldn't be exposed to, the GameStop phenomenon. They would just be in a very safe environment to learn. If it was me teaching my children or one of my friends, I wouldn't want them exposed to the aggressive behavior, to information that may not be 100% correct. I would want them to be, in a safe environment where they can just learn the basics, learn the fundamentals, learn what leverage is, learn the difference between commodities and indices, learn how the fees work, because I think lots of people get caught out on things like that and it's not intuitive. Whereas if you point it out, and you wouldn't get your son to do a maths paper straight away and just go, right, go straight to the exam, learn how to do that. You do the tutoring first. So I would have thought this training app would be the tool for that.
That's an interesting idea.
I think it would be quite easy for eToro to do. Obviously, it's not something they would make huge amounts of money off, but they're training their PIs of tomorrow. They're training their Copytraders of tomorrow. You said earlier, eToro market themselves as wanting to be a safe space. Something like this, surely educating and helping to protect people feeds into that. It's almost a due diligence for them, surely.
Well, like we talked about earlier, that metric of conversion between registered users and funded accounts, if I was Yanni, that's the number that would be keeping me up at night, trying to work on that. And anything they can do to make people more comfortable and more likely to move towards putting money in the real thing and getting started is surely in their best interests.
That stat of how many people blow their accounts, and I've seen it being done by people who are new, who are using, over leveraging, who are effectively gambling, it protects against that, surely.
Yes, and if people are well educated as to how the platform works and what the pitfalls are, then there's going to be fewer incidents of people blowing their accounts, screaming that eToro is a scam, simply because their incorrect assumptions were suddenly challenged by the truth.
Exactly.
Well, it'll be interesting to watch how eToro develops. I don't know if you're familiar with the website Wayback Machine.
No, I've not heard of it.
Where you can look up historic versions of URLs. So you can see what websites looked like 5 years ago. It's quite interesting to do that for eToro. You'll see how it's improved over time.
What changed a lot then, Gavin?
Well, have some fun with Wayback Machine yourself.
Okay, will do.
And you'll see the PIs that they were promoting back then who've long since disappeared. Okay, final question, Rehana. If you were in my shoes, what question would you have liked to have asked yourself that I didn't?
What would be your hopes for eToro apart from making lots of money? I think that's the question. And my answer would be the social side. I think that's what I was hoping for. That's what I miss from the office environment. I don't really have a social circle on eToro, which is why my plan is to sort of get my actual friends onto eToro so that I then have friends, I suppose, who do the same job as me, and we effectively get that office banter back.
Interesting. So then you could even meet for coffee and discuss all the goings on eToro, that sort of thing?
Yeah, I live quite locally to a guy called Chris Harrop, Beat the Markets.
Oh, yeah.
And I think he was talking about doing, a little meetup in Sheffield of people who are into investing. So I think we could do, mother's meeting about investing down here.
But for that to happen, eToro needs to make a few changes, I guess, to appeal to people who are the profile of your friends.
Yeah, and I think, there's lots of people in that profile. I mean, I'm an autism mum, I'm a home educating mum. There's a lot of people who work part-time who would lend themselves to to being eToro customers and copy traders. But yeah, it just seems a little bit too daunting at the moment for them.
Your dream might be realized in time.
Yeah, or I'll become a PI and get them to copy me.
Well, good luck with that.
Thank you.
Maybe one day you can come back to Copytraders Club and have a conversation like a popular investor.
Yeah, eventually when I've made it, I'll go into that VIP lounge over there.
Well, you're in the VIP lounge.
The actual VIP elite lounge over there.
Okay, well, Rehana, thank you so much for coming here today. It's been great fun to chat.
I have one more question for you. Is that allowed?
Sure.
So it was going to be, what have been your highlights of season 1? But actually, I was hoping that you would be willing to do a highlight show at the end of your season 1.
A highlight show? I hadn't considered doing a highlight show.
I quite like when, Wesley was talking about South Africa being a little bit stabby, and you talking about him doing his bit for South African tourism. I like the bit where you talked about Hugo's girlfriend and fiancé being met at that concert. There's lots of little bits from different interviews. Jay's dreadlocks. I remember laughing a lot at the Jay interview. There's lots of bits that I think, I'd quite like to hear again. We could all promote it. Copytraders Club needs more subs on the podcast, needs more subs on the YouTube. You deserve it.
Well, that's very nice of you. The one thing I did think about doing was making a music track with a bunch of little snippets, kind of humorous snippets from each show.
Like a rap.
Well, it's sort of a tune within just extracts from the podcast set to music. And maybe I could include those kind of things that you mentioned as an example. Just the sort of lighter, more humorous moments.
Yeah, love to hear it, Gav.
Okay. But it all depends on whether there's a season 2 and when that's starting. So,
hopefully. The world needs it.
All right, Rehana, thank you so much. We needed to talk to you today, and it was lots of fun to do so.
Thank you, Gavin, for having me.
There she goes. That was Rehana. You can check out the small number of videos on YouTube, eToro Drama. Always nice to talk about copy trading with a fellow copier, and interesting to hear new perspectives on the future of eToro. If you do ever see a TV advert for eToro during the Great British Bake Off, you'll know where the recipe came from. That's all from me. You can continue the conversation on Discord and Facebook. If you like this podcast and want to see it continue, you can do your part by recommending it to just one person, or indeed a group of people, this week. Until next time we meet at Copytraders Club, I wish you many happy returns. Obviously, anything here in this podcast is for entertainment only, not financial advice. Do your own research. This is just generic chit chat. We don't know your individual circumstances, etc., and so forth.